Well, if you like to keep your head in the clouds like we do here at the Storm Team Weather Center, it was a good day for it today. As you saw, a lot of that good cloud cover really pushing through. Nice and puffy, really good day. I saw a lot of people getting out there and being safe. And at the same time, a lot of those temperatures really staying comfortable throughout the day, where those lows are really going to drop down into the lower 70s. Right now, everybody hanging out in the 80s and the 70s. Slow cool down for the rest of the night because of a lot of that cloud cover, but it's going to be a lot cooler than those average temperatures. And if you get an opportunity in between those clouds, you're going to be looking at a full moon tonight because it's called the buck moon or the thunder moon, and you can kind of guess why. Is because a lot of those thunderstorms associated with that first full moon and a super moon too of July. So if you get some good pictures, feel free to send them in. This is where I'm going to talk to you about what I have concern about going into next week, where we are talking about high pressure going to be building in because you're going to see a steady increase in temperatures. But this low pressure system that's going to move across Canada now, it's very typical of a weather pattern in the summer. But watch how strong it is as it continues to kind of battle back and forth between that high pressure in New Mexico, where you're seeing predicted about 120 degrees again, and that high pressure is slowly going to work its way into our area. But you're going to watch the tail end of that frontal system, and then that ridge really builds in right behind it across the Rocky Mountains, and giving us an opportunity to see a lot of that severe weather we saw last week, but it shouldn't be anywhere near record temperatures. You're going to watch that moisture tracker. This area right down here off the west coast of Mexico really giving us trouble even right now as we're seeing convective activity from it. You're going to see that frontal system we were just talking about really make a stark contrast, hopefully enough to push some of that air out of Illinois, but we're going to see how it affects us here in the Concho Valley. You're going to see it really pull it up and then start creating that cyclonic rotation. You're going to see a lot of those systems really develop towards the evening, and we have our eyes peeled mostly for the 4th of July, where hopefully nothing but wind will be what will potentially be a problem for those 4th of July celebrations, but hopefully enough rain to lift the burn ban. As you can see, by Thursday night, it's going to be pretty extensive, and that's where we were talking about that high pressure building in by about midweek, and then it kind of clears up where we're going to see a steady increase in those temperatures. We're looking at the severe weather outlook right now, watching it off to the east coast and then across the panhandle, and we switch over to the radar. You can see it developing right along here, and this is where I have mostly my area of attention concern is as we watch these two systems close in together. We're going to talk about convergence on the surface, where it will push a lot of that moisture up into the air, and we can see strong convective activity where we look off right there off the west coast of Mexico. Look how strong that storm is building along the border. That could potentially build its way into our areas. We're watching it build up from the south and come down from the north. We'll talk about it a little later when we get an idea of what things are going to happen, but right now we're seeing just a lot of that cloud cover just stay over the southern counties, and we're getting a good look at the radar just showing us clouds. Not a lot of precip, not a lot to bounce off of, but right now we're going to keep our eyes turned towards the north, the south, and to the west. We're watching those clouds build in. Temperatures right now pretty even across the Concho Valley. 80 here in San Angelo, staying out in the 70s down there in Junction, and then of course to the north near Robert Lee and those areas, pushing to those upper 80s, kind of lower 90 region. The futurecast is going to show you how it's going to build in from the north, the west, and the south, where we could see potential for some light rain in the morning. But if it does get more severe, we'll make sure to notify you. As you can see, we're going to make sure we're being safe around those flash flood regions. Remember, turn around, don't drown. Saw a lot of extensive rain that could add on to those totals, which we'll take a closer look at a little bit later on. So again, tonight dropping down into those 70s, cloudy, light rain. Remember, full moon. And then tomorrow we're going to see it jump up back into those mid-90s because, you know, that cloud cover really going to keep things cool. You can feel it out there. It's definitely nice. And then as we make our way towards that 4th of July, we're going to see that steady increase in temperatures. We're talking about that high pressure building in from the west, but we're never going to rule out the possibility for severe weather when we're talking about those low temperatures staying down in the 70s and always being aware of flash flooding. Stay tuned. We'll have more up after the break. You're watching KSAN News at 10.